can have talent, you can have opportunities, you can have resources. If you don't have that fucking heart to like go work, dude, I'm gonna beat you every day of the week.
100%.
Every day of the week. I think perseverance and resilience, those are the main two things that I learned from my dad. So when I was 6 years old, I remember it was like in the 90s in Cuba.
Yeah.
It was the Soviet Union against the US. In Cuba just got caught up in the middle and we lost everything. You're better off being poor, being broke, and having like a good brother next to you.
Oh,
like
100%.
Having a good woman next to you, having your kids, having your parents. Because that is like irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Like you can make money really quickly. You can lose it really quickly too. A good relationship, it takes years to build.
I think when you're a very well-aligned person or a man and you know what your core values are as a person, you can walk away from it easily.
There's something interesting that happens like with the podcast and all that, dude. Like once you start talking like 20, 30 minutes, that's when you get some sort of like, there's something that happens like in our brains or heart or whatever. It's like once we have been talking for a while, you start like getting in the same vibe.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because you get to connect with people and talk about like all kinds of weird stuff.
It's your subconscious, right? A lot of the things that you've learned throughout the years, like they tend to come back, especially when it's like a reminder of things, right? And you ever seen the movie Focus? Yes. With Will Smith?
Yes.
You know how they implement certain things for somebody to remember without them really realizing is they're conscious, but their subconscious is like bringing them back into what they've seen, they've been programmed or they've been seeing throughout the day or weeks. And I don't know exactly what you mean. So whenever we have like conversations like this, it's very interesting, man. It's very, and again, I come in with like a perspective of like of openness. Like I will tell you about what I've experienced, what I've learned, those kind of things. And I'm assuming you're the same way.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And I think sometimes people are afraid to like, don't agree or be too combative. And you get both sides. You get people who are like, they just want to like argue.
Yeah, 100%.
Even if you're telling me, yo, this is my experience, they're like, no, you're wrong. It's like, but like, and this happens to me, like you were talking about family from Cuba and all that. Like I've been talking about coming from Cuba and like my experience in Cuba. And then people are American arguing with me saying that, no, what I'm telling them about Cuba is not true.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I lived there.
Yeah.
Like I grew up there. I lived there for over 20 years and then I came to America. I'm telling you, but sometimes people are too close to like hear something different.
What it is people nowadays are too easily influenced into what they listen to or they see or they hear, right? And this is why I always say like, social media, Instagram, Facebook, all that. What is it that you consume? Are you consuming trash or are you actually taking in information that's going to be applied in different ways, right? So if you're always on Instagram, just, swiping or not swiping, but scrolling, then at that point, you're just wasting your time on these kind of things. And so you're easily influenced by something that you see and it's like, okay, I believe it because of that. But you don't take the information from someone who's experienced it to be like, oh wait, but they've experienced it. No, I heard it in this side. So now my perspective has shifted from listening to the media rather than being open to listen to somebody who's actually experienced it. Yeah.
What do you think makes people want to hold on to whatever that other person is saying? What do you think that makes people believe, yes, that's true, or no, that's not true?
I feel, that's a good question because I know that when it comes to what you allow into your brain is very important. And there's a lot of people that don't have conversations or will touch certain topics and they're very one-sided. Rather than being open to looking at two different perspectives, that's a big deal. And I've learned to separate those two things and say, no, I'm not just sticking to what I know. I want to listen to the other person. But it's that influence, man. I mean, if you have someone in your circle, you meet somebody and they have too many people in their ear, they're easily swayed into that side, right? Because they don't necessarily hold their ground on what they believe. And I think it really comes down to what you believe as a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think something else that happens is with a lot of people on social media and like especially Instagram, TikTok, like those types of platforms, you have so many young people, they just haven't lived enough to know, you know, you believe every story because you have no story of your own. And until you're able to make some mistakes, fail, get hit, and get back up, you're not going to really be able to know, yeah, he's full of shit. Yeah. Or like, that guy, yeah, he looks good, he has a suit on, but it's like, there's some like level of intuition that I think it only comes with experience, to be honest. And you're going to get screwed over by a lot of people in all different areas of life. And until you go through that, there's not really anything else that you can do unless you have people close to you who went through the trouble and they know for real, and you know that you can actually trust them and they can tell you, hey, like, you're making a mistake. Like, yeah, I've been there. I've done that. Just trust me. But sometimes there's a saying in Cuba that nadie escarmienta por cabeza ajena. And it's almost like saying no one can be wise on someone else's wisdom. Yeah, yeah, like 100%. You have to go through the problems yourself. And it's becoming, I think, very difficult to find real people because, dude, trust me, like, I work in media and there's a lot of these people that you see that are super famous. And the reason they're famous is because they're paying for views. They have systems in the back end to make it like grow. And you think that they're saying real stuff, and it's not. And sometimes they're saying things about business or about how this works and how that works. And the information that they're telling you is truth, but they have never done it themselves.
Exactly. I agree.
Do you have any example?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like the people I surround myself with, and I've said it publicly here, a lot of the things that I've learned is from he's my best friend, right? His name is Ismail. I've learned so much from him in the last year. And the difference is between like you listening and hearing and actually applying it, right? And so to your point, I feel that that if you learn a new skill set, or if you learn a new way of thinking, are you going to shift that into actually applying it in real life? Or are you just going to listen, and then say that you're going to do these things? And when you come on to put out content and you say, okay, this is how you got to do it. Well, you essentially kind of took some information, but you never really applied it yourself. So how do you really know? Right. And that's what people call bullshit on a lot of things, because you're not being genuine. That's not who you are. You know, you're coming off as like, oh, I've learned these, I went through this course. You know, one thing that I've learned through trading, I've done it. I've went through 3 courses. I did a 5 in-person course in Miami. That was in 2018. And then I took 2 other courses online, and these guys were out in the UK. But all the things that I learned, I applied them, right? And then now when people take a course, they'll take that information and develop a course themselves with the same information that they did, and now they try to sell it, right? And so, again, to your point, I agree. I feel like a lot of people aren't as genuine as they should be, and be transparent with what it is they're trying to put out in the world.
Yeah. No, it's difficult. I think when you're young, especially if you don't have your dad in a position to actually teach you. Yeah. Or you have like an older brother or some older friends who know. And this applies to like from making money and knowing how to be professionally all the way to relationships and marriage and dating girls and even sex, like knowing what to do and how to do it and all that. If you don't have that person next to you, it's really hard. It's no fault of your own. And there's something that I think about. You know, my dad is an amazing man. Yeah. Like, and I learned so much from him. But there are things that he wasn't around. Like, he didn't have exposure to that because we were in another country. Yeah. So from him, I really learned hard work and honesty. Like, my dad was like, no lies for him. Like, you could go and like fuck up. You had to come tell him. Yeah. He didn't care. Like, if you messed up, he didn't care. But if you lied about it, Dude,
yeah.
We would get in so much fucking trouble. And I learned that from him. Now, when it comes to like making money and business and all of that, he was in a country that we were just trying to survive. So I had to go and learn that from other people and other experiences when I came here to America. And I wish like every young person could have some sort of like trustworthy role model, because now what is really difficult is to find someone who's actually honest and who's actually telling you the truth.
100%.
And it's so hard, man, because like sometimes when you try to share the advice, if it's the truth, it's not sexy enough.
Yeah.
And for people, it's just not, you know, like if I'm not making 10, 20K a month in the next 3 months, like I'm not going to waste my time doing this. And they have to show you like the Lambo and the jet in Miami. And then in my experience, like running my own production company, and when I work with other people in business, yes, they made millions. It took them 8 years to get their company to like that place.
Yeah.
It took them 2 decades to like be where they are right now. But we just want to do it like in the next 3 to 6 months. It's very difficult. In your industry, I guess is a little bit different with trading and all that. But like I took a few courses. I tried, and I was like, yeah, this is going to take forever.
Yeah.
Because just the exercise of trading and learning, controlling your emotions, doing all the research, like all the hard shit that goes into it. No one is really showing you that in the course. They try to make it like super sexy so you buy the class.
Oh, 100%. Oh yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you on that, because I've seen so many people get like what we consider to be beginner's luck, right? Beginner's luck is like you take a few trades and a few of them hit and you're like, oh, wow, okay, now I can go full time here. Well, you haven't really done the work, right? And so I've been doing it for so many years. Now, I'm not saying I'm at that level yet. I've been in certain situations where I've been able to go full time trading twice in the past. But I noticed that at that time, you know, I wasn't able to handle what it came with, in the sense that making big money right away was great and all, but then you become complacent with it. And it's like, okay, I know this is going to continue to happen, so I'll do it again next week and I'll make it back. And that wasn't really the case. And kind of going back to what you had mentioned, you know, things that you learned from your dad, and you mentioned that in order for you to learn about business and learn about all these other things, you know, would you say that your dad, you've learned something about him when it comes to how he made his money, and say, okay, look, this is the way my dad was. Now, you might have not learned the best, like the positive side of things to bring you to that other level where you wanted to be. But I learned that he was a hustler, that he figured out how we can get through certain things and resolve certain situations. That is instilled in you. And that's an instinct that you carry to then level your way up to finding out about business and those kind of things. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, shit, my dad too, like he was, you know, he did certain things and I understand him now. But what drove him was to provide for us to have a better future, and he carried those qualities. Now my you know, I consider him my dad as well, my stepdad. He's the same way, and then like there's different things that I took from both of them. My real dad, he mentioned, like, you know, he was very like, he was a hustler, so that's my instinct. I'm a hustler. My stepdad, same way, you know, and so I took those things from both of them to discover and learn new things. So would you say that you learned those qualities and traits from your dad too?
Yeah, 100%. I think perseverance and resilience, those are the main two things that I learned from my dad. So when I was 6 years old, I remember it was like in the 90s in Cuba.
Yeah.
It was the Soviet Union against the US, and Cuba just got caught up in the middle and we lost everything. Mm-hmm. So the country was like terrible, like wartime type economic move. Like we had nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember I was 6 years old and my dad was making me a pair of shoes with a piece of truck tire for the bottom, and the top he took this apron that he had made of leather that he would use to like work and stuff. So he cut it up and he was like hand making me shoes. Wow, that's man. My dad. And I remember that because I was like, I remember it. I was 6. I was coming from school, and I remember him sitting there. He had made the layout, and then he was like by hand just doing it.
Yeah.
Like that, my dad just doing that. It's like forever that stayed with me.
I taught you a lot.
Yeah. And a lot of the times when I'm like, you know, since then I came to America, I have made money. I'm not rich or wealthy, millionaire, none of that, but I've made a lot of money. And every now and then I'll feel down because, you know, like the deal that I wanted didn't come through, or like I'm waiting for the check to clear. They made the payment, but it hasn't hit the account. And I'm like feeling bad about myself or whatever. Yeah. And then I just have to remember that moment where my dad was doing that by hand.
Yeah.
We had no food. We didn't know what we were going to eat that weekend. And my dad always found a way to keep working, keep finding ways of making shit happen.
Yeah.
And like, I have that with me. And my brother has that too. Like, we just work and we know we're going to be okay. We're going to find a way. And without that, I mean, you can have talent, you can have opportunities, you can have resources. If you don't have that fucking heart to like go work, dude, I'm going to beat you every day of the week.
100%.
Every day of the week. And I remember I came to America and I got a scholarship and I went to film school. And like the kids there, they were American. They spoke the language. They had cars. They had family. They were paying their bills, all of that. I didn't have any of that. And I smoked all of them.
Yeah.
I made sure I got up earlier. I worked harder. I called more people. I found ways. And sometimes maybe it's better to not have anything. Maybe it's better to like be an immigrant and come to America with nothing. Maybe it's better to not have resources, not have information, just like go figure it out.
Yeah.
And I try to apply that a little bit with my son now. And sometimes he wants something and we're like, okay, you want that computer, so you want that video game, you have to do this.
Yeah.
And we put him to work. We give him like, create these images for like this ad that we're making. Go edit this video. You want your YouTube channel? Here's the camera. Go shoot something. You edit it. You put it up. Like, and I'm trying to pass that on to him.
Yeah, of course.
Because that, I think, as a man, that's the base of anything that you're going to face in your life. If you cannot just shut up and get on with what you need to do, no complaints, no one's going to save you. You just have to go figure out a way to get it done.
100%.
If you don't learn that, you're fucked.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's too many, like I said, there's too many ways on how we can view different things. And you know, men nowadays, we compete. You know, there's competition everywhere. But to your point, right, and it's a good way on how you're like molding your son into like understanding that, hey, not everything is like given out here. You know what I'm saying? You have to earn it. And I'm grateful for that too, because I learned that growing up as well, just like you mentioned, right? I mean, I was able to see certain things that like got me to where I'm at now, in the sense that I'm hungry for so many things, man. And, you know, you mentioned sometimes it's good to not have anything, because if you're really that hungry, you'll make it happen, right? And one thing that I've learned now that I'm also in sales is that, man, for you to make money, you have to go and sell. You have to go and sell a service. You have to go and close contracts, those kind of deals. So that's why I'm grateful to be in the position I'm in. And one thing that a lot of people forget about is what true wealth is, man. And some people may say, well, wealth could be monetary, could be whatever you want to describe it. But I feel like true wealth really comes with having the people closest to you and still, you know, having them check up on you. You can check up on them. You can have that communication piece with them. Like, that's true wealth, man. Because, you know, if you have your parents around, if you have close friends around, you have a solid social circle, that's wealth, man. I don't see it as monetary in the sense of like, I could have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but I could lose it tomorrow. But the people that are still closest to me and know me well, that's true wealth.
Yeah.
You know, because they're still there.
One of my best friends, Reginald Solon, he has a saying that he wrote in his apartment in the wall that says, "Unshared success is failure." And like, I would always, like, whenever I went to his apartment, I would read it and I wouldn't even say anything to him. And I was like, wow, that spoke to me.
Yeah.
And like, he's one of my best friends. He has been there when I've been through the worst. And it truly is the only thing that really matters. Dude, like, you can go make a lot of money tomorrow, but then if the people that you have around you are shitty,
yeah, for sure,
you're better off being poor, being broke, and having like a good brother next to you.
Oh,
like
100%.
Having a good woman next to you, having your kids, having your parents, because that is like irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Like, you can make money really quickly. You can lose it really quickly too. A good relationship, it takes years to build. And usually, no matter what happens, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, of course.
If you're sick, that person's going to be there. If you're poor, broke, in trouble, like,
yeah,
who's the guy that you're going to call when you're like fucked and you need to pay for something, or you need money to make rent, or like whatever it is that you need, having that person. So I remember a few months ago, I have this document that I keep, that I try to work on periodically, and it's like my life plan. And this a friend that I had gave me this document, and ever since, I've had it for like almost 10 years now. Ever since, I go periodically back to that document, and I have like the things that I need to focus on, and on each area of my life, like the plan and the goals and the action. And I remember last year I had a moment where, I was, every now and then I go in and like I try to reshift that document, and I try to like check things up, because it helps me think and get back to what really matters. And I remember going back and like on the relationship part, just writing down the names of like the 4 or 5 people that the only people I give a fuck about.
Yeah.
Those guys, like those people right there. And sometimes maybe we're not trained, or we think friendships just fall from the sky, and they don't. As guys, we have to be really intentional, because, dude, you let a snake get into your close group and you'll be fucked.
It creates it becomes chaos, really.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And you have to be really intentional about picking those like 3-4 people, and making sure that you text them every now and then, you call them and catch up with them, and you find ways in your business and in all the things that you're doing, how can you involve these people so they also win?
Yeah.
You can only do that with people who are real and legit, and people who have shown you that they are there for you in the worst times. I think many people have a lot of friends, but you need brothers. You don't need friends. Like 100%. You and I, we're friendly. Mm-hmm. We know each other. We're doing this interview. It's all nice and great. If you text me, I will give you help, like whatever I can.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like get in a fight for someone for you. I don't know you that well.
Exactly. I understand.
And you're not going to do the same for me.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
We just met. We're having a great time in the interview. You're not my brother.
Yeah.
And I can be like, oh, bro, Ariel, this and that. Mm-hmm. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
The reality is, if you get into a fight with knives and shit tomorrow, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah, of course.
Now, if my guys that have been there, they call me and they need something, I'm going to run and like do it. I'm going to get on a plane. I'm going to be up at 3 a.m. talking to them on the phone to help them. I'm going to send them money. Like if I have $500 left in my account and they need 400, I'm going to send them the 400.
Yeah, 100%.
It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And I think it comes with time. To be honest, like I don't want to shit on younger guys and say, oh, you haven't like found this or done this or that. I think it comes with time. Going through hard stuff in life makes you stronger, and you kind of need that to be able to differentiate between the people who are really there for you and you have to be there for them, and the people that are just passing by. They're just in the peripheral. Like they don't matter that much. And as you get older, you start realizing that group of people is smaller and smaller. And I think that's how it should be.
I agree with everything you said, man. It's very hard for you to just allow anyone into your circle, right? Your circle is that important. Your vetting process has to be on point. I'm the same way with you. I don't just allow anyone to my circle, right? It's very intact. And there's a reason why they were selected to be in that circle. And so, yeah, to your point, man, I mean, I'm always willing to teach. I'm always willing to share. The quote you mentioned, unshared success is failure, right? I agree with that so much, man, because like if I'm doing all this and that and I'm making X amount of dollars and like I can't share that with them, like to bring them up in some kind of way. I might have my own business, but maybe you can't like tailor your way into it, but I can help you to potentially start your own. And same thing with family too. Like my ultimate goal is to make sure that my family's well put. My partner, if I have a partner in the future, if kids, all that. Of course, man, that's what being a man is meant to be. It's for you to put yourself in a place of discomfort and try to figure out how to make it right. And I think that's what drives me every single day, man, is putting myself in uncomfortable situations to make it happen. But to your point again, bringing just anybody into your circle it's not a thing, man. I understand. I agree.
And I think it's difficult sometimes for women to understand what that means. Yeah. Because they have a lot of friends and like their friendships are not meant to be life or death situation. Yeah. Ours are.
100%.
And maybe right now we don't have that as often, like regular civilian life, you're not in danger of dying all the time. But we are made to be out there in the woods, hunting, fighting other people. Yeah. So like we have that in our DNA to connect with other men, and you need some sort of bond because you know that you're going out to fight other people and you have to trust the guy next to you.
Yep.
And I think that's what makes sometimes women like fight us on I'm going out with my guys, or like my friend needs this and I'm going to go out with him.
Yeah.
And they're afraid of like cheating and all of that. And it's very interesting to me when you put it into perspective to a more primal base of it all, it makes total sense. It's like, hey, I need to have that brotherhood because I'm wired to be close to other guys so we can go kill people.
I agree. I agree, man. And when you have those kind of conversations with a woman, like, oh, you're just going to go out there and be with a bunch of random women. Like, nah, it ain't even that. I mean, sure, if it comes with it, I can't tell my friends they can't bring friends. Mm-hmm. If they want to be surrounded by them, that's cool. But me to that level. Like obviously our relationship is built and our foundation is built on respect and loyalty. That's really what it is. So if you know me well and I've never given you a reason to question me or to lose that trust, then why are you giving me shit? Like,
at the end of the day, guys are gonna cheat no matter what.
Oh, for sure,
if they're going out with friends or going out for work or not going out or whatever. And like I told my wife, like I'm not being loyal because of whatever like you. It's more about me.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm deciding I want to do this relationship.
Yes.
If I didn't want to do this relationship, I wouldn't have gotten into this. If I wanted to have 5 different women, I would just go and be with 5 different women. Like it's not about, you are never going to control me or convince me or like put guard around me. So if I wanted to do something, like if I wanted to hurt you or cheat on you or whatever, I would find ways to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix that. I do like that she gets a little jealous though. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, that tells you because she knows that you have the ability to. Now, do you have the willingness to do it? That's the difference because, a lot of guys will have the ability to and they choose not to. That's that willingness, right? So I'm the same way. Once I find my partner, I commit fully. I don't go around sneaking around and all that. But now guys who don't have the ability to, but they're still willing to do it, that's wrong. Because at that point, man, you're either paying for it by the hour or you find your way on how to do it. And that's definitely, again, if you're dating somebody who that they're not capable of pulling women like that and they still do it behind your back, that's wrong. Both of them are wrong, but you know what I mean? Like having the ability to and then the willingness to is different. And that's what women find attractive is knowing that your man has the ability to pull women and he still chooses not to.
Yeah. Well, most guys can't.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
I think sometimes we forget, and we have all these clips on social media and we're looking at these guys that are talking about like having multiple women and this and that.
Yeah.
And like women get really mad at that. But the reality is most guys, even if they wanted to, they're not going to be able to. Women are super hyper selective. So yeah, you can try all you want. Hot women are extremely selective, and the only way they're gonna want to go with a guy is based on like whatever they're doing in their life, their status, and whatever. So at the end of the day, if you're in a relationship, if you are interested in being with other people, just don't be in a relationship. Yeah. Just like, to me, that's the other thing that with guys, to me, it gets on my nerves. Like when I know that a guy is in a relationship and then he's sleeping around, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why?
Well, to your point, right? Because like even very attractive women, I'm talking about 8s, 9s, and 10s, right? You know, one concept that I recently learned was that women are attracted in different ways, right? And the first thing that women look at in a man is, how does a man make them feel? That's important. That's the first step. How do they feel? Then comes the physical, then comes the mental, right? So the feeling is again, you could be, you know, you could be semi-handsome, right? You could be well put together and all that, but how do you truly make that woman feel?
You know what? I think I disagree with you there.
Really? Okay, let's hear it. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the main thing that women are attracted to is, can that guy get other women?
It's still a feeling though.
But it's not even like, because they're going to pick up on that even before they talk to them.
Yeah.
They're going to see the guy.
Oh, of course.
There is something that happens like in the scanner, the brain scanner is like, that guy can fuck.
Oh, yeah. But that's a feel. Okay. I know what you're saying, but that's still a feeling, because she feels something of like, wait a minute. Okay, that guy's different. What about him? Gotcha. And he's attracting me, just not even talking to him, just because he's surrounded by other women. That's a feeling. Right?
Gotcha. I thought you meant like how he makes me feel. You were going all romantic.
No. In different ways, man. In different ways. Like romance is one thing, and you know, again, just by your presence is another thing, right? So without having to say much, without, you meet a woman, right, and you know that she's up there. You just know it. But your confidence, man, your external confidence and your internal high self-esteem, man, that's key.
100%.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Right?
The funny thing is that guys who are trying to get that, they're going to focus so much in, what do I tell the girl? How do I approach her? What line do I say? Yeah. And it's like, dude, it doesn't even start there. Yeah. It's like, what time are you waking up? Are you hitting the gym? How much money are you making? Do you have guy friends that are also built up at that level? What are you doing with your life? Do you have a purpose? Do you have things? Like, are you getting shit done? Yeah. When you get all of that, it makes you be a type of person that when you walk into a room, then women feel that presence. 100%. The thing is that when you say it like that, it sounds so fucking cliche that no one is going to hear to what I'm saying. Yeah. But if I say, yo, you walk up and you look her in the eye and you say something about her shoes and then you walk away, people will pay attention to that. Yeah. But that doesn't even matter. Ariel, I've been around like some of the most beautiful girls in LA. Yeah. I remember this one time. This is a story. I never told this story before. Let's hear it. Now I think I need to like edit this shit. I don't want to get in trouble.
Nah, hell no. You edit nothing. You know who you are, bro. Yeah, hell yeah.
I was doing this shoot and we had, I think it was about 15 female models and like another 10 guys. And I'm doing this shoot, like, right, I'm directing. We did the whole day of shooting and I had like a couple shooters. We had multiple locations in the same building and we were doing this, like, it was yoga and then we had like cycling and it was like a mix of fitness, wellness. It was for this high-end club in Malibu. Mm-hmm. So I remember we were doing this whole thing and we shot the whole thing. I never once was interested in any of the models. Yeah. Because I had shit to do. Mm-hmm. I had my shot list. I had my drone that didn't want to fly. I had the camera stabilizer that was messing up and I couldn't get the shot. Like I was busy doing my thing. Yeah. Dude, I remember after that whole shot, we finished the day and I remember coming back to that club days or weeks later and I had all of these girls coming and talking to me. And I didn't even know that they were in the shoot. Yeah. And they would come up to me and like flirt with me and this and that. And I'm like, what's happening? Yeah. Sometimes it's not even about what you're telling the girl. She needs to see that status in you somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And that's why we buy into like getting nice clothes and the cars and like the jewelry and this and that, because it's a way to go and do something hard to attain something that very few men have. So you can use that to attract the women.
Yes.
And if guys would only focus on that, it will make their life so much easier.
Because and to your point, right? I can align to that, because when you're not out there, I mean, if you would have been in that shoot and you would have been out there trying to like get their attention and all that, it wouldn't be as attractive.
Yeah, then you 100%. Become kind of like weird. It's you're the director that is trying to flirt and like do things and do that, and then you're gross. And women feel it, guys feel it. Then you're the fucking creep that is trying to take advantage of like the power situation to like do something. Dude, when I'm on a shoot, like I no women, like it's not even like my brain is not even looking for that. And I've been in other podcasts that the guys are like, oh, so tell me, how is it to like working with the models and this and that? It's like, nah, man, it's not there. Now, if I'm single and we go out, then I'm a shark. Then I'm looking, then I'm using like all the different tools in the tool set to like get their attention.
Yeah, well, it depends on the setting too, right? Because if I'm out in a bar, to your point, right? If I'm at a bar, I'm not necessarily like in a big environment kind of setting. Like I'm not a hunter, right? Like I wouldn't consider myself to be a hunter. But if I'm at a bar and I see a beautiful woman out in the bar just by herself, yes, I'll approach her, of course. And I've used a line it helps. I mean, it's 100%.
Okay, give me your line, Ariel.
The line is very simple, man. Like if I see a girl, she's at the bar, I mean, I'll go up to her and I will tell her, hey, look, I'm not here to, I don't want anything in return. I just want to let you know you're very pretty. Would you like to have a drink with me? And if she accepts the drink, great. If she asks me certain questions, I'll entertain the conversation. But if not, be like, here, cheers, have a great night. And then I'll walk away, right? Now, it's happened to the point where I've done it. And towards the end of the night, the girl will like look for me. And she'll be like, that was, thank you so much. Like, what's your name? What's your number? Like, let's exchange numbers and let's hang out sometime. It's happened. And so that's such a powerful way of doing it, because if I'm entertaining a conversation, first off, the music is loud. Second off, like, I don't want to have to yell into her ear or anything like that. Look, if you're interested, this is how you can find me. And then right then and there, you're setting her in a place of like, okay, I'm not used to that, because I'm used to guys just trying to hit on me. I'm used to guys trying to have a whole conversation with me here. And I know homegirls with her friends, like, I'm not going to take her time away from that. Like, I got other shit to do. I'm with my boys over there too. I'm probably going to go find another girl too. You're not the only one. and so, that's my way of approaching it. Now, in a different setting would be if you get bottle service at a nightclub, let's say, right? Because we do it often, but I don't go out looking for the girls. I don't go out looking for, oh, can you girls want to come with us? Like, we're getting bottle service. No, I mean, and this is why it's important to, a lot of guys will say, oh, well, having girlfriends or whatever is not necessarily useful, but it is. You have those girls who are very well connected, and I have a few who I will call them, hey, we're getting bottle service, bring some friends. She'll bring them. Now, it's not the only girls that we're gonna be hanging out with. Now, when they see that it's usually just me and another guy, or maybe it's just us three guys, and then they see that we're surrounded by girls, other girls, to your point, they'll see like, yo, why is this guy around so many girls? What is it about him? They become that much more attracted, so they'll find their way into the section. So again, it's not necessarily being a hunter, but it's being more on like the magnetic side, right? You attract.
Yeah, I like that more, like the magnetic side.
Yeah.
I think for me, I haven't had that much experience doing that. To be honest, like every time I got him,
let's do it this weekend.
Cool. every time I'm married now, so I'm not interested in
bring your lady. It's fine. It's good.
Any hunting expeditions, but
absolutely.
Every time we have gone to like a VIP nightclub, something like that, I've been with someone.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like that approach. I haven't experienced it, so I'm not gonna lie and say, oh yeah, blah blah blah, whatever VIP bottle. Yeah. For me, has always been, I think, my circle and like the people that I know. Mm-hmm. And when I have been in parties and things like that something has happened, they usually they came to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it's something funny that happens when you're not focused on the girls. That's when the girls will come and give you attention. Because like I think it hurts them that you're not giving them attention, so they want to.
It's their vanity, right? You hurt their vanity a bit. When you learn how to break a woman's vanity, with like, you have a lot of these guys messaging them or, you know, telling them in person, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, and just really like, and nothing wrong with that, of course, but you throw that every so often. Now, how you can compliment a woman is by her, oh, I like your energy. I like the way you carry yourself. Like your smile is great. Those kind of things. Like that's when you break a woman's vanity. Now, to your point, right? If you're not giving them the attention, then it's like, okay, why is he not approaching me? You know, every other guy is approaching me. Does he not find me attractive? So now she wants to go find out. And that's when she'll come into your space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it happens.
Hell yeah, man. Dude,
I like that concept. Yeah. Breaking their vanity.
Yes.
Interesting. Yes. That's a new one. I hadn't heard that one before.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do like the magnetic thing. I think learning how to be magnetic, for me, is a lot of plays with the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm great with words, but I save the words for later when I'm actually like, when something else is about to happen. But I think the eyes is what does it for me. That's my tool for the magnetic approach.
Yeah.
Something about, I don't know, being a Scorpio and like.
Oh, you're a Scorpio. Okay.
Scorpio.
Hey, I'm not big on horoscopes like that or zodiac signs, but I'm half Scorpio, half Libra as well. And so I feel like my Scorpio side will tell me like, take that jump, take that risk. Yeah. And then my Libra side will say, well, analyze it before you do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But dude, like I didn't used to believe in that at all. I still think it's kind of up there in the magic world. But for girls, what is it with girls and horoscope and signs and all that? I don't know out here, but in LA, dude, that's like the first question every girl is going to ask you. What's your sign?
That's their comfort zone, man. That's their way of like opening up to kind of understand at what level you're at, right? What kind of person, what kind of characteristics you carry. And I mean, I entertain it to an extent, but I don't necessarily keep up with it as much as many people do. I know who I am. You know, and there's certain things that I do to like align myself to make sure that if I'm in a situation, I got to get out of it. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make them guess.
There you go. Hell yeah.
But that's the Scorpio side of me. Yeah. Like, I like the whole mystery thing and making people guess. And I think it keeps people engaged and trying to think more about like what's happening and all that. And it works. At least for me, it has worked very well, especially in like sexy situations. Yeah. The whole guessing, blindfolding, not knowing where we're going, not knowing what we're going to do. I really enjoy that. And I think it builds up to before things happen, having that element of surprise and like guiding her, but not letting her know where we're going and that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed that a lot. And it's something that I've realized that it really works. So like if guys are trying to spice up their sex life, dude, a few blindfolds.
I don't know about blindfolds. Hold on. Blindfolds what? On the first date? That's
no. I'm talking now. We're getting into like the hats on.
Yeah.
Once you're getting into like the real deal.
Yeah.
Keeping some mystery and surprise and making sure you're surprising them with things that they don't expect, but you have the control of how you reveal. And it's with little things.
Yeah.
Like even in the, let's say you're going to her house.
Yeah.
You can take control of the situation in creating that buildup and that mystery and that sense of like eroticism by telling her, go into this room and I'm going to do something. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah,
if you use that. Now, I think it's something very interesting that people talk a lot about getting the girl, but I don't think we talk enough on all this podcast and stuff about, okay, you have the girl, now what?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
Because, you got the girl. You did everything to get her to bring you into her place or like you're dating or it's a one-night stand.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you have to make sure that you're going to rock her world and make it like unforgettable.
Yeah.
And I think playing with all of those surprises and building up that tension. So then when it happens, it's like a grenade.
Yeah. I see what you mean. See, that's a good way of seeing it. Of course, man. I feel like it's almost like you're Because again, I went back to, you know, what I had mentioned earlier was that women are attracted by experience and how you make them feel, right? And so doing those kind of things that you just mentioned, it's like, oh wow, this is the first time I ever see this or I ever experience this. It's all about experience, man. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Creating that. This is the first time I have ever. I think that should be every guy's like, if you get her to say that, then you know that you're special.
Now, obviously, you don't just do that for anyone, because you could be, even if you just want that one night stand, like you mentioned. I mean, you see what your point is, and you see where you're trying to get to, like what you want. But if there's that one woman, right, that you told yourself, look, I'm doing it for me. It's not for, I'm not, you know, telling myself that this is what I want for her. I'm telling you because this is what I want. Now, I feel like that's important, because once you do have the girl, then I mean, what is it that you're going to do after? Of course, you have to continue to attract. It doesn't end after just getting the girl. And that's, a lot of guys make that mistake where they become very complacent. It's like, well, I already got the girl. We're just going to go and have lunch on the weekends now. It's going to be a routine. We're going to go to the movies. We're going to do this. No, man, you got to spice things up. You got to continue to attract. And so, I completely agree with that, man. Is what is it that you teach her, and how do you make her feel after you teach her that? Yeah.
What do you think is like the biggest issue that guys are having when it comes to like the sexual life and like keeping things spicy?
Complacency a lot, man, in the sense that they might have come off a certain way, and I think it's more so not being transparent. If they're not transparent within the current place that they're in, and they say, well, shit, if she finds out that I drive this car, or she finds out I live this way or whatever, right? They'll turn that story into something else. And I think that's a problem, because you'll attract her a certain way, and then when she really truly finds out the way you are, like, you became deceiving, man. I think it's a problem, right? Because you need to be very upfront and transparent with who you are. Don't hold back. If she likes you for who you are, she'll be attracted for who you are. It's not what you bring. It's not your possessions, right?
I think that's the stupidest thing that anyone can do, is like pretend to be something they're not to get a girl. Yeah. Dude, that is dumb as fuck. Like, just be who you are. Yeah. Now, if who you are sucks, then change it. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to remain being who you are if who you are actually sucks. Mm-hmm. But lying to a woman to get her to open up sexually to you,
that's wrong, dude. That's wrong, because you're leading her the wrong path right off the start.
Well, and also, even if you get her, there's no way you're gonna enjoy that night with her. No, if the thing that got her to be with you was not who you really are.
Exactly. And that kind of brings me to this point too. It's like, I know a lot of guys who, and at the beginning too, man, to an extent, I was thinking the same way. And it was like, well, shit, I live this lifestyle, right? But she's used to this lifestyle. Like, I already unqualified myself because she's already there. But then it's like, I've learned over time that it's not about what you have. It's about, again, who you are, right? Because you can attract, she could be used to being taken out of certain trips, or she's presented this lifestyle and all this and that, and she's programmed to that, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is that if I am who I am, I've been told in the past that, like, I've had these experiences, but I never got any substance from it. I never felt any kind of way from it. I was very bored. Like, the conversation was very dry. But then I have a conversation with you, and it's what I'm attracted to, is how you make me feel. And then on top of that, they see the potential, they see your ambition. That's much more valuable than somebody who's already well made and has absolutely no substance to the conversations or how they treat you and those kind of things.
Yeah. I think that works on the attraction side, but I do want to mention that I think too many guys make the mistake of going after a girl that is outside of their league financially. Mm-hmm. And what you said is true. Yeah. She's going to be attracted to who you are, how you speak, how you treat her, and all that. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, long term, it's going to be a failure. Yeah. If you're trying to get into a real relationship, because, like, let's be real. If you want to have a girlfriend, you need to add, depending on the city that you live and all of that, but let's just do average numbers, it's at least $1,000 added to your monthly budget.
Oh, yeah, bro.
At least.
Yeah.
And then if she's going to move in with you,
Oh yeah,
double
for sure,
that.
For sure.
So if you are not in a position to actually take care of her, and people can talk about the 50-50 and don't simp out and like all of that, how you can talk about that all you want. Dude, the reality is you want to be able to take care of your woman. And if you can't do it, it's difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get lucky and find a girl that is willing to make sacrifices or like be on the ride with you. But I think for most of the guys, just don't get into that situation. If you want that chick that is used to doing all of those things, she doesn't know the actual dollar amount, but she knows the feeling.
Yeah. So
you can get by, and maybe instead of taking her to the restaurant that is $200 for the dinner, you go to one that is like $120, and you can make it work.
Olive Garden. Yeah.
But Olive Garden, like when you compare Olive Garden to like any of the fancy restaurants, like,
yeah, I see what you mean. I see your point.
It's just not going to fly.
Yeah.
Maybe she's going to do it a couple times, but then she's going to not be comfortable.
Yeah.
The same way that if you like a certain type of girl with a certain type of body or face, you're not going to go with the ugly girl.
Yeah.
You might go out with her a little bit, but you might not see yourself with that girl that doesn't suffice your level of like sexiness long term. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think you're better off going after a girl that you know you can actually protect her, provide for her, be someone that she can look up to. That's better. You're going to be happier, and she's going to be happier than if you're ugly as fuck, you have no money, and now you want to date this model that is used to this lifestyle. Even if you convince her some way, somehow, it's not going to last. And if it lasts, she's going to go bananas on you, because then you're not going to give her what she's looking for.
I agree. No, 100%, 100%. Like I mentioned, I had past acquaintances where they felt like that girl was out of their league. And one thing is having to date them, and one thing is having to just that one night stand type of deal, right? Of course. Now, if you land at 10 out of 10 on a one night stand, a winner, right? But even then, when you have, and your intention is to date this girl and she's used to that lifestyle, again, to what you mentioned, yeah, I agree. If you can't sustain that lifestyle, and that's what she's looking for, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely don't put yourself in that situation. But if she gives you different kinds of signs, in the sense that I'm not just looking for that, I'm looking for something real, and you can provide that, however it is that you got to provide it, and she sees that ambition, she knows you have the potential to do a lot of things, man, and you can come out on the other side, she'll stick with you. That's one thing, right? And how this woman was brought up, that's important, as to what she's accustomed to, how she was brought up as a child, and her upcoming, right, her upbringing. And so, to your point, man, again, if you can't sustain a lifestyle, don't put yourself in that position. 100%. Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to realize and then make the decision that, hey, we have to end this. I think it's difficult because you're trying to hold on to the idea of what could be. But when she is clearly not in the same trajectory as you, or looking for the same things as you, or just happy with what you can provide, you have to understand it and not let your ego get wrapped up into that and trying to make it work over and over and over. Like the moment she starts treating you not well, disrespecting you, not appreciating what you're doing for her, even if it's because she's used to something else, the moment that starts happening and you start seeing those problems, you just have to accept it, take the loss, and just like end it. Don't try to convince the girl of what you are giving her. And if it comes to the point that she says, yeah, this is not working anymore, I don't think we should stay together. If she's giving you those cues and saying those words, I think sometimes, and it happened to me, and I had to learn it the wrong way. I had to learn it the hard way, to realize, hey, it's just not good for you. And it's not going to go anywhere. Just have the balls to just like accept it and say, okay, this is not going anywhere, and let's move on.
Yeah, no, for sure. And a lot of guys it's difficult for them to walk away from some certain things. And I feel that, what really holds you grounded as a man is to make sure that your values are intact, and to make sure that you understand what your true values is as a man, because once you understand them, nothing can hurt you, right? You can walk away from anything because you know what your ultimate goal is. And one thing that I've learned, again, referencing him, Ismail, one thing that he told me that stuck with me: your vision and your goals have to be greater than your pleasures, right? And that's key, man. If you fucking are intact with that, you're aligned to it, you can walk away from anything, man. It doesn't matter how beautiful the woman is. Again, there's women everywhere, and people or guys are too programmed to say, no, well, let me try to work it out. To what you said, let me try to work it out. Why isn't she not, seeing what I'm truly trying to bring to the table? And it's, again, man, if it's dead, it's dead. Walk away. You know what I'm saying? Turn that page and go on to the next one. That's what it is. So yeah, to your point, I agree, man. A lot of guys, it's very difficult for them to walk away from certain situations. And I think when you're a very well aligned person or a man, and you know what your core values are as a person, you can walk away from it easily.
And I think it's difficult, but it has to be done.
Yeah.
And every person, the thing with relationships, and like I get a lot of guys that message me or comment on like my videos on the channel, and that's a topic that keeps coming back and back. I can't really know for sure all the details, but
Yeah.
And if you're asking specific questions and you're trying to figure out why she's not doing this, or why she's saying this, or why do I feel like this, if you know, and it doesn't matter how much advice we give you. If you talk to 5 therapists, like when it's done, it's done. And like you said, when it's dead, it's dead. Just move on.
Yeah, for sure.
Just move on, because the pain that you're going to experience when you keep trying to make it work is worse than the pain that you're going to experience when you accept it and just move on.
Yes.
And you just need to have a couple heartbreaks to learn that one. And hopefully then that lesson will stay with you. And dude, the funny thing is that it doesn't matter how much you tell someone. Sometimes they just have to go through it themselves.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a situation like that. And my brother, like I kept calling him and telling him this and that. And he's like, dude, just move on.
It's easier said than done. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, once you learn your lesson, I think it takes once.
So for some people, it takes more than once, right? I am thankful to have multiple heartbreaks throughout my 20s, right? I mean, I've really had maybe 3, but I'm thankful to go through all the shit that I went through in my 20s. A lot of learned lessons more than anything. And I think it's important for a man to experience that. Right now, I'm in my 30s. I'm 33. So now I know what it is that I can avoid, what is something that I've learned to, how to navigate through life, and what kind of chances I can take, what chances I can't take, those kind of things. And with women, it's similar, man. It's, again, you're allowing someone into your space and you're allowing them into your world, right? And in order for you to have a woman open up to you is to allow them into your world first. And so once that happens, they open themselves up, and out of comfort, out of you creating that safe space. But when things get to what you mentioned, where it gets really bad, and it's like you got to move on, you got to know how to fucking just cut it, right? Just move on to the next one. This ain't your first rodeo, right? I mean, you've been through this already, and those are things that you mentioned. You can go through therapists, you can go through your friends. They all have advice for you, but you already have the answer, before you even ask them. So I think a lot of times it could be that reassurance of like, I'm doing the right thing, right? But essentially, you already have the answer for yourself.
Yeah. And hopefully you learn it early. If you can learn it in your 20s, you're better.
How old are you now?
I'm 35.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I didn't learn that until later, because I got married like at 21, and I was married for about 10 years, and then I got a divorce, and then I started dating. So I didn't start dating until like my 30s. Yeah. And it was different. Like, it was certainly different. And I think if you're young and you can learn that, it's easier. When you're older, life changed. There are different situations. There's living arrangements. There's a lot more that goes into like a breakup when you're 35 than when you're 25.
Yes.
Things are different. I think most people that struggle with that are younger.
Yeah.
because the pain that they're experiencing of going through a breakup, they have never felt it before. So it feels like the end of the fucking world that that's going to happen. But also people go through it in their 30s and there is different, and it hurts because of all these ideas that you create in your mind about that person and how you're going to have a life together. So like they're equally hard.
Yeah.
Here, you haven't experienced it that much, so it burns. Here, you have had so many relationships and you thought that, oh, this was the one.
Yeah.
You could actually like make it work because now you're in a mode in life that you're more interested in having stability than you are having adventure.
Yes.
So that one hurts a lot too. And I think depending on the guy, what I have experienced is that because I want to be a good like man, I want to make sure that I'm not the one messing up. I'm not the one being too weird or crazy or closed off, or I'm not flexible enough, or I'm not loving enough. There's a lot that plays into that. I think with men, if their heart is in the right place, and we're talking about relationships that are coming to a breakup, not because someone cheated or we're talking about just like problems. If you're a good guy, you are analyzing like what you're taking ownership. What could I do different? What happens is sometimes you are using your logical mind to process the situation and try to find a solution. On the other side, she's just using her heart and her emotions, and she's going crazy on you because of a feeling that she has that is wrapped up into her life experience, her childhood, her previous relationships, trauma. And I don't like to use the word trauma too much because it might feel as a bad thing, but it's legit. Like based on what you experienced, you have trauma in you. And then, you know, when you're in your late 30s, if you have had a bunch of failed relationships, you're computing all of that. You're doing it with your mind. She's doing it with her heart. And like that clash of heart and mind, dude, that's like an explosion. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And that's why you see guys later on, they just close up. And they don't want to let anyone in because it's difficult. Now when you're 35, when you're 40, if you open up to a woman and then something happens and then, oh, fuck, that's like, and the problem, sometimes women don't give us enough credit. They think we don't care. It's like, no, at least for me, if my relationship is not well, I can't function well. I'm going to show up to work and do whatever I have to do, but I'm not doing it the best way possible. And we care. We just carry on because we have to carry on. We can't just be like, oh, I feel bad, I'm going to like stay in bed and cry. No, like I'm a man. Even if I feel bad, I'm going to go do what I have to do, but I'm not functioning the way that I should. So women don't understand that. Also, like, we don't understand that they're having like an emotional response to this whole thing that we are seeing very clearly with our logic. They just have a feeling. And they got the feeling, and like no matter what you say, the feeling is still there. So sometimes you have to just let them have that feeling or figure out how can you change what they're feeling. And this is something that I have learned sometimes. Sometimes with my wife, I'm like, you're having your feeling, if I let you be, you're going to spend 2 days mad at me and having all these feelings. No, I'm not. Let's go. Let's go here. Get dressed. We're going to go eat. Get dressed. We're going to, like, you have to break them out of the placement and like direct the situation. Otherwise, you're not in control. And then if you let her emotions control your relationship,
then it's no good. Nah, yeah, for sure. Again, and I know exactly where you're coming from, because a lot of guys, instead, what they'll do is they'll challenge their woman. They'll challenge them into, why do you feel that way? Like, or, you know, they'll try to put them in a place of like, you know, you're wrong. No, it's not that. It's having to understand them, and it's having to really communicate the right way with them, because what you mentioned was that, you know, they're driven by emotion. Yes, absolutely. So if their emotion gets the best out of them, then it's not good, because it's going to last you even longer than just having to resolve that problem right then and there. So instead of challenging, you can acknowledge, right? Or you can praise. And there's two different ways of seeing that, right? So acknowledge can be, well, I acknowledge that you're upset. Let me try and understand why it is that you're upset. And then how can you shift that perspective on how she's viewing the problem and how you can present that solution? Because we're solution-based men. That's who we are. We're solution-based. And so, and that praising can come from, how do you interact with this woman, right? How do you make sure that she feels that comfort to express herself on how she's really feeling, right? And it's like, to your point, again, a lot of guys, man, they just go away from it. And it's like, oh, why is she mad? Why is she, instead I'm gonna go out with my friends then. Fuck it. Like, fuck her. No, it's not even about that, man. She's feeling something and you have to try and understand and get to the deep cause as to why she's feeling that way. Yeah. I agree, man. I agree.
Yeah, it takes work, man.
It takes a lot of experience, I'll tell you that, man. And it kind of, again, going back into why I think it's important for a lot of men to experience so many things in their 20s, because by the time they get to the 30s, they should already know what they want. I have a younger brother. He's 21, and he's learning a lot. He's learning a ton, man. I mean, he'll call me once a week, and we'll, kind of have that conversation of like, okay, so you have this situation with this and then this. Okay, let me help you navigate through it a little bit, right? And so I ask the right questions to get to the deep root of what it is that's having him question what it is he's doing, whether it could be his school or it could be his, the women he's dating, whatever the case is. But I think it's important for him to like experience all that, but also have a good pathway to make sure he can avoid a lot of the things that could potentially bring him down. It's like,
does he listen to you?
Yeah, man, he's good. I mean, he's met him. Roger, you met him, Montana. Yeah. He's good, man. He's been very like in tune with a lot of things, man.
He needs to start making money. Like put all that energy 100%. Towards making money.
Oh no, for sure.
3 girls at that age, I don't think you have but yeah, if he can get it out of the way.
He's in school, right? He already got his bachelor's. He's about to go for he's trying to get another bachelor's for a different I'm not sure what it is, a different major. But he's smart kid, man. Very
put
smart.
Him to work.
Oh, 100%.
Put him to work with you on the trading and stuff.
And not only that, he's actually going to be in the internship for our sales department in my company over the summer. So
put him to work, man. I have my youngest brother is about to get married. Yeah. And he's still in Cuba, but we just added him to the company to help us and like to just learn everything, and like that way he can see everything that CJ and I are doing. And we're just putting him through the ringer right now and forcing him to do time management and to show up for every call that I'm on. He has to be on the call and like listening so he understands what I'm doing with the company, and like explain to him all the objectives of the company, the goals, the strategy. We're talking to this person to do this because of this or this client. So I think your little brother has a huge advantage that he has 100%. You.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And we talk about business all the time. We talk about like how to interact with certain people, even if you are, especially on a business standpoint. What I do for a living, like I said, I'm in sales, right? And I use something that I've recently taught him too, is the law of averages. The law of averages is a tool that you can use in anything, but in sales, the way is used is like for every 10 calls you get 1 meeting, for every 20 calls you get 1 meeting. For every person is different, but you understand what the law of averages is, so you know what your number is. So you got to continue hitting those numbers because one thing's going to come out of it. Now, how you use that concept, and you use it with pre-indoctrination. Indoctrinating means you're teaching, but pre-indoctrination is like you're teaching something to show the transformation before it actually happens. And so you're painting a picture for the client, right? And this is one thing that a lot of people think that in sales, or even when you're dating, or even when you're going about certain things in life, that you need to try and convince, or you have to persuade someone, but that's not really the idea. The idea is having to present the idea, right? And then having somebody enroll into it, right? By themselves, not having you to force it. It's like, okay, this is who we are, this is who I am, and the reason I'm selling you this service or this product is because, we have this history and our clients are pleased and this and that, right? And so they see the value in, and they'll put themselves in that position to say, yes, I'll go with you, right? And so the same concept can be used in dating. It can be used in different, you know what I'm saying? And it's not having to be deceiving, but the only reason why you're even presenting this is because you've already experienced it, or you're living it now, right? And so I think that's important. And I've taught him that, man. And he's like, man, he's on it. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest like mistake or missed opportunity your little brother is doing right now that he doesn't realize with things that you're trying to teach him or trying to get him to understand or do?
Yeah, I think what it is, and the reason I say I think and I feel is because I'm still trying to collect that data, right? Rather than me saying I know. But I feel that it can be maybe kind of distributing it his time and attention towards different areas, not just the dating in school, of course, but maybe getting into that workforce a little bit, right? Just to get that experience, even if it's a part-time or the weekend, that's fine. And by the way, I know he's going to watch it. Hey, no way am I saying that you should go to work, but it's good to get that experience in and say, hey, look, like I feel like, okay, I got my first paycheck. All right.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm saying, yes, you need to go to work and you need to work for your brother.
Yeah.
You should be your brother's like assistant.
Yeah.
You should handle his calendar, help him with meetings, like help him with his email. You should go and whatever your brother needs, because this is something that I think younger brothers don't realize. Mm-hmm. Your older brother is the one person that is going to be there for you no matter what. More than any of your bullshit friends in school, the girls that you're dating, your older brother is always going to be there for the little brother.
Oh, 100%. I'll do
the
anything,
other
bro.
thing that you need to realize is if you help your older brother, you're helping yourself.
Yep.
Because anywhere your older brother goes and conquers, you also conquered.
Yes.
The other thing that younger brothers don't realize is your brother has been there, done that. So he's not telling you to do something just because he's wanting to boss you around. He just has more experience than you.
Yeah.
And he really wants you to do well because, I mean, the only reason we do whatever we do is so our family can move ahead,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So I think any younger brother like watching the show, please go find whatever it is your brother needs to move up to the next level and help them do that. Because the other thing that is built into the whole brotherhood thing, and that's why I love working with my brothers, is you have trust built in.
Yeah.
Like,
you have a foundation that can't be broken.
Yeah, like there's no point. If you go and you betray your brother, you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
So having that, going into businesses, like if you can carry your brother and convince him, like even with my little brother, he's in Cuba. There's no real way that we can actually work together on our production company because we're here, we shoot everything here, we do everything here. I'm still always trying to find a way to like involve him in everything that I'm doing. And like CJ and I, since CJ came to America, we have been doing everything together. We keep our money together. We live in the same building. The first few years, we were living in the same apartment. Yeah. We were doing everything together. Like if I go, like he's here today helping me. Whatever he needs, I'm going to be there for him. So I think brothers are missing out huge opportunities when they don't work together.
Yes.
I almost feel like I should like not even tell people to do it so I can keep a leg up. Because it's honestly like one of the biggest advantages that I've seen. Like since CJ came to America and before when he was in Cuba, he was working with me. So I would send him equipment and he would edit and work on things that I needed here. And we have been doing this for like, how long, CJ? Since like 20... After COVID. Since you came to America. But before that, you were in Cuba and you were already working with me. So like even before it was actually viable, we were already saying, okay, this is our company. We're doing this together. So he carried the brand name in Cuba, and then he was going and doing shoots there with the Red Axe name of my production company in America.
Yeah.
And then whenever I would speak to people, I would say, yeah, it's me and my brother. He was still in Cuba.
Yeah.
I would still tell people here in America, yeah, me and my brother, we have this company, and we do this and we do that. Dude, he went through all the countries. He went across the borders from like Nicaragua, Guatemala, like all of those countries, all the way up to America. He was still working for the company. Like I would send him footage and he would edit stuff and we would have meetings about the production company, even when he was going across the borders.
Yeah.
Like that, you're not going to get an employee to ever do that. You're not going to get like a friend to ever do that. So people who are not working with their brothers, you're missing out.
Yeah, no, for sure, man, because they're the ones that know you best too. It's like, you're absolutely right, man. And we've talked about a lot of different ideas too. Going into this year, 2025 is going to be a very different year. My year in 2024 was more of like rebuilding myself more than anything. So I couldn't necessarily say that I can do this, and that, right? Because I had to be in a good place myself before I even allow somebody to come into my space like that, especially my brother. Of course, like I had to learn so much. I went through so much in 2024. It's crazy, bro. And it's a learning year for me.
Yeah,
right.
24 was a shit year for everybody.
Crazy, bro. What a year. But I learned so much, man. I learned so much about myself. And then now the person I am now is like, okay, I'm ready for everything else. I'm asking for everything else. I'm putting it into the universe. I'm asking certain ways on, with God, and you know what I'm saying, I have my own relationship with him, but like now it's when I'm ready for it, because I've overcame so many things. We were talking about earlier, having to close certain doors and open new ones. Right. And so that was the biggest thing for me, man.
Was there a hard breakup there in 24?
It wasn't a hard breakup, man. It wasn't even that, because that actually happened in 2023. But it was more of like my past, with my dad, dude. That those 20 years of not seeing him in person and just communicating through Facebook Messenger was a big deal. But I overcame that and finally, met with him earlier this year in January, and that was a fucking door I needed to fucking close and just be like, all right, let's start a new one. Let's open a new one. Right. Some things that I had to get off my chest. He got some things off of his chest, and I understood why he did the things he did. And now I understand why I am the person I am. Right. And so now it's having to, pivot away a little bit from that and say, okay, this is where I'm headed to next. Yeah. Having to find your higher self is important.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I have some like pending things like that too, because with my biological father, I haven't seen him in, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
When was the last time? I think the last time that I went to Cuba. So almost a decade now since I've seen him. And I don't have any, like, I don't even like think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But there is still, in some moments, I feel like almost incomplete.
Yeah.
Like there's that one section of you that you're not, like when you have to do your taxes and you haven't done them yet. And like in the back of your head, you're always thinking about, I have to do my taxes. It's a little bit like that, at least in my case, because I have a stepdad that filled in that role and gave me everything that I needed in a father figure.
Yes.
But I know for some men who haven't been around their dads, that's a huge missing piece.
Oh, for sure, man.
Of who you are as a man. And the funny thing is that it can either be destructive, or sometimes it could be the thing that drives you to
constructive.
Prove that one person that you are fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's doing the self-work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to prove to the person that you feel that abandoned you, you're trying to prove them that you're worth.
Yeah.
That you are someone that matters. So people take it different ways, and I understand what you mean. Mm-hmm. And I can see how bringing some closure to that can help you kind of know a bit more who you are. Yeah. And it's like a puzzle piece of this is your father, this is who you are, especially in the now going into your 30s, you're in the prime age to be a dad.
Yeah.
And you probably can't really take that step until you feel that you have that missing piece, connective tissue with your own dad.
Yes.
And not even to have him in your life all the time, just to know, okay, this part is okay. Yeah. I think it's a fail system that we have internally, that if we are not in tune with our father figure, we don't feel equipped to move on to become a father.
Oh, yeah.
And if we do it, maybe we did it and we weren't ready, and now we feel that we're not being a good dad, and you're trying to not repeat the same mistakes. And it's this whole cycle of maybe we're getting too weird in the complicated mental map of fatherhood and what it means to know your father. And I'm glad you were able to put that behind you and almost contain that in.
No, and then a lot of that decision making came from your social circle, man. My social circle, they straight up told, like, they know so much about me. They told me, like, you got to close that door, man. That's the only way you're gonna continue to. It's how you're gonna elevate yourself to let go of the past and continue moving forward, right? That's what's holding you back. And I can appreciate my cousin. He lives out in San Francisco, and my best friend Ismail as well. I mean, they're both my best friends, but they influenced that, right? They influenced that to say, you gotta just break that barrier, man. You gotta go through with it. And sure enough, man, I'm more than thankful for it, because it put me in a better place. It was like now I have constant communication with him. He's still in Mexico and all that. And again, it's not to take anything away from like what my stepdad has showed me too. My stepdad's been amazing too. You know what I'm saying? So he shaped me out to who I am, apart from like where I left off with my dad. Then my stepdad came in, he elevated me to, but where the real instinct came from was me growing up, seeing certain things. Is he a risk taker? Yes. And those are the things that I've carried with myself, to take risk and never hold back. Take that chance. But then my stepdad kind of implemented that to say, well, before you take that chance, analyze it first. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was, again, and I tailor that a lot to who I am as a person, and what, kind of going back a little bit to zodiac signs. Like, I read into that sometimes. I'm like, yo, okay, that makes sense.
It makes sense.
All right, it fucking makes sense as to why my Scorpio is telling me to do this. But then my Libra is telling me, hey, balance it out, analyze it before you make it happen. But yeah, man, it's weird how, like, not weird. It's just very fascinating to know how everything shapes out when you put certain pieces into place. And yeah, man, that's why, like, I navigate through life a certain way, and why I play certain games, chess, poker, all that. They teach me a lot of that shit, man, too. Like, certain moves that you make on the board, there's a reason why you make it. Now, if you make the move, what kind of consequence is going to come after that, right? And so you got to be analytical with everything you do. So, yeah, man.
Do you want to have kids?
I do. Yes, I do. I want to have 12, to be exact.
12? You want to have 12 kids?
12 kids, man.
You better start making
Crazy, right? Yeah, no, 100%. But, to be real, I would say probably 4 to 5, and then potentially adopt and foster. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I think that'd be
cool.
We
need more good guys having kids.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. Of course. Yeah. I think it's just now, with everything going on, I think it's made it much more difficult for somebody to sustain those kind of lifestyles, right? To provide, and really, like, that's why kids, adults are not having as many kids now. Yeah. I think they look at it and it's like, well, shit, it sounds expensive. Well, fuck no. I mean, you just got to get better at what you do. Make more money.
Yeah. And also, you have to understand that kids don't need all the things that you think they need. And I think look, we grew up, we were 3 boys. We grew up in a third world country. We had nothing. Like, we would pass down our clothes. We had no food. Like, it was terrible. Like, now that I'm an adult, I can think back on it, and it was like, that must have been terrifying for my parents.
Yeah.
But, like, my brothers and I, we had a lot of fun. We had a great childhood. We would, like, share our food, and we would do competitions, like, and we would put this little piece of chicken, whoever finishes first.
Yeah.
Eating, like, you get that little piece. We'll do bets, and, like, we'll sleep all together in one same room, and, like, we had a great time.
One thing that we're missing now is, I'm sure that you and your brother, like, you guys were always outside having a good time, being kids. Now you don't have that, man. Like, now every kid is at home. They don't come outside. Where did we shift from, like, and I know exactly where it is. I mean, it comes from technology and all the shit that's been presented, but yeah, I understand what you're saying, man. I mean, growing up myself, I was the only kid, the only child, but I had my cousins, and we'd always be around outside, just up to no good. But man, those were the best fucking times, man. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think people need to have more kids, and, like, kids having multiple siblings, it helps, like, with social norms and all that. And also, like, if you have a big family, I mean, we come from Latin families. We always have big families, and people make fun of us because of that. But I think we have the most fun. And also, like, if you have a bunch of people in your family, you can count on more people. And I think people sometimes, they equate having a lot of kids with not being educated and being poor, because so many of the poor families or poor countries have so many kids.
Yeah.
But think about it. If you are wealthy or you're trying to make a lot more money, if you have more kids and you can instill those same principles into them, like if you're working really hard and you're going to grow in your sales or your own company or whatever it is that you're doing, if you can have a multitude of kids that then you can pass on that same information, then you can build so much more wealth.
Yeah.
And when you look at the actual wealthy families that existed in America, and if you want to go back even more in history, dude, like all those countries in Europe with the kingdoms and like with the dukes and the royalty, it was all based on family.
Yeah.
They were always like getting people married, this family with this family, to get together and become a bigger family. Mm-hmm. Like, and now in America, we're trying to make families as tiny as possible. Don't have any kids.
Yep.
And then we're all divided because we all think differently and we live in all these little different houses and everyone is trying to get away from everybody instead of like figuring out, okay, this is our family. We are into sales. I'm going to get my cousin, my brother, my sister, everyone into this sales force and like become like the best at doing this.
Yeah.
And then you can maximize everything that you do because you have this element of like compounded effort when it all comes together.
Yeah.
I think people are missing out on that big time. And that's why like my brothers and I, we're focused on our company. We want to make big TV shows, big films, and just grow that company. So each one of us is taking like a different section and owning that section of the business. Yeah. So I'm going out and trying to get clients. Then any client that I get for the agency and any new project with a new script or any new like film or project that I can put together, then my brother CJ is helping me carry that on. And then my other brother MJ is like supporting us with doing the admin work.
Yeah.
So it's like three of us fighting against, if another one single guy wants to start a production company, it's just you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to lose.
Yep.
I'm going to win because it's three of us working towards the same thing. And I get really passionate about like talking about this because I think it's so beautiful when you have big families all working into one thing together. And then it's more fun whenever you get the big party.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna enjoy it a lot better.
That's what I'm saying, man. I think again to your point, man. It's almost like nobody wants to have big families anymore. Well, everyone talks about tradition and this and that, man. Well, shit, tradition tells us that big families were around. You know, my grandparents had, on my mom's side, had about maybe 6, 7, I think 8 kids. My dad's side had about 9, 10. Okay, cool. That's exactly what I want too, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to carry that tradition too. I want to have a big family. Can you imagine the family reunions and you come along with all your kids? Bro, come on. Yeah. That is beautiful, bro. Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah, we need that. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So you mentioned you have one child.
I have 2 kids.
You have 2 kids. Yeah. Okay, very nice.
Abel and Alexa.
Cool, man.
They're boy and girl.
Yeah.
And they're from my first marriage, and now I'm planning on more.
That's good. Hey, there you go, man. Yeah. And she's on board with it too.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, man. Hey, look, thank you, dude. Because how I came across with you, it was funny, man. Because I came across your page and I saw, like, I followed you, right? And then I see that you had a YouTube link, so I clicked on it. But you look so familiar. Even before that, I had seen the Justin Waller interview, and then I seen the other. It's called the Master Sex.
Yeah, with Sterling.
Yeah, it was Sterling. That's right. That's right. And man, when I clicked on the YouTube and I saw your page, I had already seen the whole thing. You know how YouTube like tells you where you left off and all that. Yeah. I seen both of them, the whole thing, and I was like, oh shit, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute, this is fucking Axel. Hell yeah. So then that's how everything got connected. And so I appreciate you, man, for your time and everything, man, for us to have this conversation. I'm hoping that in the future we can have more conversations. I think these are great, man. I think it's just good to just talk the shit and like be who we are and just put it all there, you know. So
for sure, man. Thanks for having me. And
yeah.
I'm on board whenever we can talk about making more money.
Yeah,
having better sex and making more friends.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, I'm down to like do more of this. Again, we're thinking about this idea where it's like more of like a round table type of deal, and I think that'd be great, man. I think that'd be hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Cool. All right, man.